Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing great, fine, dandy today. In today's video, I'm going to talk about I'm going to give and talk about my experience being in the gay world from obviously the male perspective and almost give some advice about being a new gay or an old gay or a middle-aged gay in the community. So if anyone hears this and is interested, this is for them people who feel like what they're feeling or what they're going through isn't just them, that it is normal. So obviously I always do a disclaimer for all of my videos that I've done probably for the past 2-3 weeks, so I'm going to do one for this one. As usual, I do generalize a lot, but I generalize when I feel like it's an accurate generalization. So I am talking about my experience as a gay guy, just living in the world and being in the community. I'm not a kind of like so it's just in a way that's not woke, but also not traditional as well. So it's just living in the world within them worlds. So this is my experience and the experience of others that I've heard. So take that from what you will. This video was originally for tomorrow, but I think I might be slightly busier than usual tomorrow. So I thought I'd do it today. And then that way it's up for tomorrow for anyone that's interested. So, I think I'm going to do this in parts, but in like one video. So the first part is basically knowing that you are gay or bisexual. When you have that feeling as a kid that I did. I'm going to explain some of the feelings, some of the things I was going through, and maybe you might feel very similar. Sorry. And then I'm going to talk about kind of when you're in school, so like late primary, early senior, when you are not sexually driven yet, but you're romantically driven. So you watch TV and you see couples on TVs and you imagine who you'd want the couple for you to be, if that makes sense. And then I'm also going to talk about the kind of activities, the kind of shows and the kind of toys that one would be into, most likely be into if they were the stereotypical gay guy like me. And then I'm going to talk about the high school age. So basically when you reach sexual maturity and basically when you're going through all of the hormones and you're like, oh, I want to have sex with anything that moves. So I'm going to talk about that as the gay perspective as well. Then I'm also going to talk about the coming out experience when you first do it and just before you first do it. And then I'm going to talk about what happens after you come out, maybe after like your year's anniversary, but you're not really counting. So around about a year after you come out, the big difference between once you do and round about the year after. And then I'm going to talk about your graduation as some YouTuber that I saw is like what it's called, where basically you're at the point in your life where you don't feel awkward about being gay, and when you say the word I'm gay or I like guys or I don't like women, it's in a way that's like not shameful or awkward, it's prideful. So you're at the point in your life where you actually like being gay. So to begin with, I'm going to start with the first one, which was when you're a kid, so like primary school age, up until late primary. So ever since I can remember, I've always liked cartoons, and even to this day, I still like cartoons. It's not all I watch, but it's a main thing that I watch. Sorry. It's like gone past 12 at night, and that's why I'm yawning. And I always liked the girly, colourful, Friends for Life kind of TV shows or movies. So I loved Trolls, Winx Club, Wizards of Waverly Place. I liked Scooby Doo. Although Scooby Doo, I think pretty much everyone went through the phase of liking Scooby Doo as a kid. But I remember really liking Daphne. I don't know, like literally, I'm watching Winx Club at the minute, and there's just something about that kind of framework where it's kind of the girly stuff, and I also like Barbies and Brats. So I'm not saying that no bi or straight guy can ever like these, but I liked a lot of them, and I would say from the male perspective of the gay community, I have heard that that is normal. I've like been in conversations with other gay guys who have been through pretty much the exact same thing as me. But I think also to do with my special needs, naturally, because I am quite extreme anyway, my special needs makes it a lot more extremer. So when I like something, I like it to death, and I think I was like that with a lot of like girly fantasy stuff. So that was definitely something that I recognized, and just the fact that when I was a kid, the things I wanted to be as an adult wasn't things that typical guys would want to be. Like, I would imagine that a lot of guys want to be like firefighters, policemen, truck drivers, chefs, footballers, where I kind of wanted to be a singer, a dancer, some form of an entertainer. I wanted to be a fashion designer at one point, but I think that was because my sister did a fashion design course, so I was kind of copying her. And I kind of went through a phase of wanting to be a hairstylist as well. So I was into the very stereotypical old-fashioned gay hobbies. And it's something that I've noticed with other gays as well, when we're kids, that we tend to like. So that is one sign at that age that you might be like me. So the next part is basically either I would say the last 2 years of primary up until your first year of senior school, where you are romantically driven as a young person. So I would say obviously everyone else is born different, but I would say on average at that point you understand what mom and dad is, and you understand family more so than when you were younger, and you understand what like love and marriage is if they're married. So as a kid you kind of want that for yourself, and then you read all of these stories about princes rescuing the princess, and I loved that kind of thing, and I still do. I'm a very hardcore Disney fan, and that's all about the princess and the princesses. But when I was kind of going through all of these, I would either pretend I was the prince or the princess. I kind of swap and changed. I remember when I was young, and watching Disney, I would 9 times out of 10, I would be the female kind of heroine that needed to be saved, so like princess. But then kind of when I got older, that's when I wanted to be the prince more. But I think that's definitely again a normal thing within the gay male community when they're at that point in life. So kind of my 2 bits of advice for them 2 bits in your life is obviously not everyone is going to have an open environment. I'm quite lucky where my mom even though I was into all of the girly things, she didn't see it as a bad thing. She just wanted me to be happy. So I didn't grow up with judgment or kind of. I like. Some people aren't allowed freedom to be gender expressionate because, you know, that's very normal for kids in general. Um, so I think at that stage, like if you're a parent and you're watching this, allow your kids to be and dress and play with what they want. You know, they're kids, they need to be lovely and have fun. And when it comes to being romantically driven, like I say, I think it's very normal. I've been through it. I've heard other people that's been through it. So being romantic is totally different to having like a sexual drive and a sexual attraction to anything. Like I remember at primary, if I liked a guy, as in personality wise, like if I thought he was a nice guy, and like more than usual than the other guys, I would be like, oh, I want to hold his hand now, and I'd be kind of like that, and that's normal. So this next advice is when you first basically go into school, senior school, till the second half. So I think anyone will know when you get to that point in school, most of the things that you feel is peer pressure. So my advice is to find someone who likes you for you for no other reason than just because they like you. Even if they're, for whatever reason, not physical and in school, there are plenty of like clubs you can go to or group chats that you can belong to or group pages on Facebook or whatever, and you will find that community for you. So I was personally at a Catholic school, not because my parents are religious, but I went for other reasons. So naturally, even though statistically it's not true, but when you are at the phase of like, you want to come out, but you're not out yet, and it's because of the whole religion thing, you feel like there's no other gays um, within the school. So even if you feel like that's not true, and if you don't know anyone else, you can find other people online or in other groups that are the same. As long as you find someone that likes you for you, don't give in to peer pressure, and just be yourself. And to kind of add to that, obviously the most peer pressure that I know that I went through, and a lot of the LGBT people that I've spoke to have went through, is because we grow up in a straight world where you're told, you know, it's even if it's not fully in words or in full context, you are told inwardly that being straight is the norm, and basically the world expects you, before you are romantically and sexually driven, to get a girlfriend if you're a guy, and if you're a girl, to have a boyfriend and then get married and have kids and grow a family, where everyone isn't like that. Like I definitely wasn't like that. Like I don't want kids either, so that can be a lot for someone who isn't all three of them things. So I feel like that's an important advice for me to give out, that you're not weird or you're not wrong for not wanting your own family, obviously, to be with the opposite sex if you are same sex attracted, emotionally and physically, or if you don't want to get married. It's not, when you are a teenager, you're coming out of the phase of living your parents' life and you're coming into living your own life, and you need to drive that home to your parents or to your guardians that I'm a teenager now, it's my life. So next bit is pretty much like the last 2 years of senior school and pretty much just before you come out. So this is a very hard thing to experience naturally if you are the LGBT experience. Straight people will obviously, for the most part, support you if they are supported, and they'll want to hear your story, and they'll be like sympathetic and all, and that's great. But no one knows what it's like unless you've gone through it yourself. It can be a very lonely time because, for example, you know, it is a minority at the minute, and if we're comparing it to another minority, like a different race, like the Asian community, I'll say that. So, maybe like the Japanese community, sometimes they can be called racist slurs, but one thing that is in their favour is because it's race, it's obviously handed down through generation to generation, so they'll have people to talk to or relate to physically that are going through the same thing that they are. But sometimes you can be the only gay in your family, or the only gay in your class or within your friendship group, and it can be really lonely. I found that personally, and I know that others have. So the piece of advice that I would give people that are kind of in that phase is to keep on holding on. And I've got to say, suicide culture has become really popular now, even in a joking way. You know, there'll be people will say, oh, I'm going to kill myself because of this reason. And most of the time it's for stupid reason, and it's in a joking way. But when you are feeling like that anyway, even though someone's saying it in a joking way, they will internalize that as, oh, maybe I should actually do it. So to anyone who is feeling like this, please hang on, because even though you think that life is bad at the minute, and I somewhat had that feeling as well, so I'm not judging because I've been there, but just keep on holding on, because life will get better. Even if you have to fight more than I did, life does get better, and you will get to the point in your life where you're out, you're proud, and you don't think twice about feeling uncomfortable, and it will feel amazing. And so this next one is kind of after you come out, to about a year after you come out. So, like I say, no one knows what it's like to come out, or to say to someone, oh yeah, I'm gay, by the way, or if they ask if you have a girlfriend, or if the conversation comes up where it's about attraction to girls, and you're like, actually, I don't swing that way. At first, it can be quite stressful, and it was quite stressful for me. And it's kind of a weird situation because I went through this phase. Sorry, and I saw some other young LGBTs go through this phase when they first come out, where basically, because they feel denied within their life, and because on some point they were, and I was, they go full rainbow and full camp, and they accessorize with more colours, and they become more the exaggerated version of themselves, and they love it, and it feels like a great movement. But then at the same time, you still feel awkward, so it's almost like you put on a campy, over-exaggerated version of you that isn't you, but also is you. So don't be surprised if that's what you're going through. It's very normal. I went through it. Many others have been through it. Just wear whatever you want to wear, really. And it's normal. Okay, I think I've mentioned everything that I want to say. I've gave the different phases that I went through personally in my life, and what I've heard other gay guys' lives. Kind of split it up into like categories and gave some advice on them. In the future, if I think of any other examples or any other advice, I might do a separate video on that. But I think I'm just going to say basically bye for now, because that's all I can think of. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, give it a like and subscribe down below. I'll link my Twitter, socials down below. If you want to talk to me about anything, if you liked or didn't like this video for whatever reason, or you disagree or agree with the message that I was trying to say, please let me know either in the comments down below or on the Twitters. If you've been through something similar, let me know. Love to hear it. And also, I'll link my other YouTube channel where I basically give reviews on music albums that I have. So, hope you guys have a great night and love you.